I'm Debbie Godfrey. Welcome to the Positive Parenting Pep Talks podcast.
How can you avoid battles over food? This is one area that I really don't like to get in fights with my kids over because in this area, if you really go to battle over the food issue, you can actually create eating disorders in kids. So the old way that many of us experienced growing up of, you have to sit at the table until you finish everything on your plate and you don't have dessert until everything is finished, really can set up situations for kids to have problematic eating patterns. And what I found with my kids is that they really would eat healthy foods if I provided them. They would also tend to, because they're smaller and their metabolisms are faster, they tend to do better if they have lots of small snacks rather than big meals. So all of these things to keep in mind, that they do eat differently than we do. Most of them will eat healthy if you provide healthy foods and keep healthy foods around. And then if you start having fights and battles over things, you want to involve them in the food preparation. So one of the things that I did was we sat down and we created a meal, like a menu. And so the kids and I would all sit down and figure out, what are we going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and put it in a chart. And then had people be in charge of various meals or days or whatever. But we always had, not always, but, and intermittently we had family systems for how the food prep was working. And when you do that, it tends to take those kids that are really a pain during mealtime, no matter what they're doing, whether they're throwing their food, they're refusing to eat, any power struggles or battles that you're having over food time, if you can involve them in the meal planning, it tends to take a lot of that tension and fighting away. So making the menu and then even involving them in the shopping, we talked a little bit about that briefly a few days ago of, involving them in seeking out what's on there. And so if you take your kids in and let's say each child is responsible for a day and has to find, the various things on the menu for that day. And this gives them something to do, and then involving them in the meal preparation. So getting to actually learn to fix the meals in the kitchen with you is really exciting and really fun. And you can often get kids to eat things that they wouldn't normally eat. When they make them, they tend to eat them, even if it was stuff that they didn't like before. And another thing that I did that really took a ton of battles away, and this isn't for everybody, but for me it worked for a period of time, and that was the 1-bite rule. Everybody had to take 1 bite, because so often there's something that they've eaten 10 times before with no problem, and then one night they go, I don't like it, I don't want it. And this really pushes our buttons. We're like, well, you've eaten this before, you liked it last time, and all that does is turn into a power struggle. So instead of getting in the power struggle, I had a 1-bite rule, and it's like, fine, if you don't want to eat that, that's fine, but, remember the 1-bite rule, and you have to have 1 bite. And then if you really don't like it, I always had 2 backup things that they could eat, and for me it was peanut butter and jelly and cheese and crackers, and I always had those available. And if anybody didn't want to eat what I was providing, they could have those as a backup. And that seemed to work really good for a period of time. Tomorrow I'll talk about what happened when I blended my family and had to change that rule. And so, it turned out differently. So, only use that if it works in your family situation. Have a great day. Happy parenting.
Thank you so much for joining me here at the Positive Parenting Pep Talks podcast. I assume you're here because you're getting something out of these daily pep talks. And wouldn't it be great if more parents could hear more about these ideas for their children? And you can help me in a great way by liking the episodes, by sharing them on your social media, and especially by providing a review on your platform of choice. So if you could do me a huge favor and do that, it would really help get this out to many, many, many more parents. And we can all help our children feel more seen, heard, and understood, which is my life's work, is to make sure that all children feel loved and appreciated, and that we can discipline them without breaking their spirit. So I hope that you've enjoyed these podcasts and will continue to enjoy them. And I really appreciate any support you can give me here at Positive Parenting Pep Talks. Thank you so much. Have a great day and happy parenting.